You know, a few weeks ago, I told you about a hearing, and we had just come back from it. I think it was the day before I did the weekly update. And the hearing was a Freedom of Information Act case that Judicial Watch had filed in the Russiagate scandal, the illicit spying of the Obama gang and the Obama administration on the Trump team. And that involved Clinton DNC-funded Fusion GPS, who had hired, among others, Nellie Ohr, the wife of Bruce Ohr, top official at the Justice Department. There are all sorts of other issues with Fusion GPS, but this Bruce Ohr was obviously, in a conflicted way, working with Fusion GPS while his wife worked for it on a project to destroy President Trump. And he did it in an inappropriate way, and when it was at least publicly announced that that had happened, Bruce Ohr was removed from his number 4 slot at the Justice Department and put back to another senior position which he already held, which is, I think, head of organized crime. So we wanted to know, tell us more about Bruce Ohr's wife. So give us communications between the Attorney General's office from 2015, 16, and 17 and Bruce Ohr's wife. We asked this back in December of last year. We sued. We still don't have the documents. And the government was telling us it will take us 6 months to even begin searching, I think. And by the way, we only want to search for 1 year, 2016. Well, the president ran beginning in 2015. We don't know when the Fusion GPS deal began. And obviously it ran into 2017, because that's the time when Bruce Ohr was removed. But this Justice Department was playing games. So we had a court hearing. And as I told you a few weeks ago, the court hearing went very well because the judge said, no. You're not going to take 6 months. In fact, you're going to begin searching for documents immediately. And within 2 months, I'm going to have a status conference, and the writing was on the wall. You better have those documents to Judicial Watch that you're going to produce to them. And so that was great. And so what I want you to know, though, is the order that came out, or the transcript of the court hearing, was very illustrative of the frustration the courts have with the lack of transparency by not the Obama Justice Department, but by Jeff Sessions' Justice Department. Judge Walton has repeatedly criticized the Justice Department during the hearing, which took place on June 14th. And I'm going to quote from the transcript of Judge Walton. This is Judge Walton, the federal court judge, who was criticizing the Justice Department. I think if it's been almost since December, when the initial request was made, I need my glasses here, more should have been done by now. And it seems to me, if you have someone who's going to come into office and they say they're going to be a disruptor, referencing President Trump, that they should appreciate there's going to be a lot of FOIA requests and therefore should gear up to deal with those requests. So I'm not real sympathetic to the position that you have limited staff and therefore you can't comply with these requests. So I think you're going to have to get some more people. I mean, FOIA is considered to be very important. I keep getting from the government, from various agencies, that we can't do this, we can't do that, because we don't have the resources. I'm not real sympathetic to that. FOIA is important. Open government is important. And the government has to comply with FOIA in order to make it an open government. So I can't tell you how pleased I am, or how pleased I was to be sitting in the courtroom. Now, I'm not the lawyer, I'm there as the client, and hear a federal judge push back on the Justice Department gamemanship that I see virtually every day here at Judicial Watch and our attorneys have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. So we had waited 6 months, they still haven't done anything, and they told us it would take 6 more months. And they didn't even want to search everywhere they wanted us. We wanted them to search, and they wanted to limit the search chronologically. That's lawlessness. It's lawlessness on FOIA, but it's lawlessness, and it's our Justice Department doing it. And it's an important issue because it's on Fusion GPS, it's on the targeting of President Trump, it's on potential Obama Justice Department and who knows what else collusion with a Clinton campaign vendor. Remember, Fusion GPS was paid for with Clinton campaign and DNC money to create the Russia dossier and otherwise go after President Trump, or then candidate Trump? What was the Justice Department's role in all that? We're not going to find it from Congress. As I've noted before, the IG typically only scratches the surface, doesn't want to go the full mile, so to speak, in drawing the conclusions necessary about corruption at the Justice Department and FBI. They'll put out facts that are obviously bad, but they don't want to draw the conclusions. So it's up to Judicial Watch to do this. Congress just passed this week a resolution, the House did, giving the Justice Department 7 more days to turn over documents they've been withholding for probably close to a year. What are they going to do? Impeach or issue contempt if that happens to Rosenstein. Well, you know, I appreciate the extra pressure. I appreciate Congress letting them know that there's serious consequences potentially here. But we want the documents. Congress has other powers it can exercise, the spending power to get the documents. You know, Peter Strzok, who is the FBI agent, who was writing those text messages about stopping Trump, having an insurance policy against Trump, having a plan to vindicate or stop Trump. He testified in a closed-door hearing earlier this week for 11 hours. Now, everyone says 11 hours, that's a long time. Usually there's an inverse relationship between the amount of time someone is questioned by Congress and the value of the testimony, and that seemed to be the case here. I don't know why it wasn't transparent. I don't know why it wasn't in public. You had a bunch of congressmen asking him questions. Now it turns out, we find out, according to some of those congressmen who were there, that the FBI prevented Strzok from asking or answering many key questions. So you have an attorney from the government there telling Strzok you can't answer that question. So the cover-up continues. Rod Rosenstein and Christopher Wray were on the Hill this week as well. That was disastrous testimony for the credibility of the FBI and Justice Department. Mr. Rosenstein evidently thinks he's doing nothing wrong in document production. Director Wray thinks the IG report that exposed outrageous corruption at the FBI wasn't about the FBI as an institution. Well, that's just obliviousness to the credibility crisis that is facing the FBI and DOJ. Few Americans trust them to do anything fairly. Certainly on the Trump-Russia investigation, or frankly, they should be not trusted to do anything fairly and without bias on any politically sensitive investigation. Wray and Rosenstein seem oblivious to that. They're defending Mueller, talking about how great a guy he is. It's clear that the FBI director and the Deputy Attorney General have professional and personal admiration for Robert Mueller that make it impossible for them to dispassionately analyze whether or not he's behaving appropriately. You know, I told you about this travel ban, for instance. Remember, Robert Mueller's number 2, Andrew Weissman, Sally Yates, the Attorney General, acting Attorney General at the time President Trump announced his first version of it, said she wasn't going to defend it in court, even though it was perfectly defensible. Outrageous misbehavior by a government lawyer, and she was rightly fired. Andrew Weissman, who's now Mueller's deputy, number 2, sent her an email saying he was in awe of her for doing this. He's an anti-Trumper. And the special counsel, who's supposed to be reassuring Americans that he's doing things without bias, after all, he is a special counsel, has on his team the number 2 guy, who's an anti-Trumper, who also, according to the Wall Street Journal, went to Hillary Clinton's election night party.